I am Heidi Benjaminson, your host of Confidence Coaching, a podcast for mothers of teenagers who want to know they are making the right decisions. Life isn't a spectator sport. Success comes to those who show up every day with a pocket full of courage, grit, and a little sparkle. I'm glad you're here. Hello. Welcome to episode 117, Borrowing Belief. Thank you to all of you who are listening, liking, reviewing, and sharing this podcast. I love hearing how these topics are helping you feel more in control of your emotions, how you respond to your family. If you want to hear more about a specific topic, or you see something I post on social media that you want more examples of, or you want me to explain more, please send me a message about it. I learned best through examples, and I bet you do too. Make sure that you're on my email list to get direct links to more tools and to get your free confidence tools. Sign up on my website, HeidiBenjaminson.com. Okay, today I want to talk about a tool that's very powerful, a way to start taking action before you really believe a result is possible. A kind of step ladder to new beliefs and making changes, since we're in the time of year when the world is focused on goals and changing. I want to dive into the tool of borrowing belief that something is possible. And I'm going to talk about the different people and ways that we can borrow belief. So, to borrow something is to use something that doesn't actually belong to us. It isn't ours yet. We don't own it. I looked up belief in the dictionary, so we know exactly what we're borrowing. In dictionary.com, there are a few definitions, and I like this one for this context. It says, belief is confidence in the truth or existence of something not immediately susceptible to rigorous proof. So believing that something exists without immediately being able to prove it's a fact. So when we borrow belief, we use someone else's confidence or trust that it is possible or true. In simple ways, we've all probably borrowed something before we own it. Borrowed a kitchen appliance, then realized we have to have it, and we buy it. My daughter is borrowing tennis rackets from her tennis coach to see which racket is the right size and weight before we buy a nice racket. She's trying on the one that feels best. We can do the exact same thing with beliefs about what is possible for our lives, about what is possible for our goals, about the skills and traits we can build as mothers, as women, as anchors for our family. I love the idea of borrowing belief. Our minds, especially our lower brains, are limited to what we have achieved. Our lower brain goes to the past to see what we have done and uses that as evidence for the future. Now, I'm going to talk about this as actually being useful in a few minutes, but for right now, notice how if we only look to our past for belief, we're limited to only relive our past experiences. We don't think something new is possible. Just a week or so ago, I saw Oprah talking about the first time that she saw a Black man, Sidney Poitier, coming out of a limo at an awards ceremony on TV many decades ago. I think Oprah said she was a teenager. It had never crossed Oprah's mind that Black people can succeed in life, people like herself, that they could be the type of people who are passengers in limos. She said when she saw him come out of the limo, it changed her belief and expanded what she saw as possible for herself. She was borrowing belief from Sidney about what she could create. If Oprah thought that she could never be someone to ride in a limo, what a limiting belief that would be. And wow, has Oprah blasted through countless limiting beliefs for herself. And we can borrow her belief. Years ago, it was thought that no one could run a mile under 4 minutes. And then someone did run it under 4 minutes. Many runners then borrowed the belief that it's possible. They didn't have any proof or data to show that they could do it. They saw it done. They borrowed proof And soon after, many other runners ran the mile in less than 4 minutes. They borrowed belief. They did it, and then it was their own belief. They had their own proof that it was possible. So where in your life do you want to do something new that really seems impossible right now? To whom can you look to borrow belief? Recently, I was reflecting with a client about how she was thinking and feeling before she decided to try to lose a lot of weight, which she has, and she's kept off. I remember she started doing the work and her own belief really was not high. She still took action. And I was questioning her about why she kept going. She really took action while her belief just was pretty low. And she told me that she held on to the belief that since I had lost so much weight years ago and had maintained the loss, she believed it was possible. Since someone else had done it, she borrowed my belief. She borrowed my own experience as what was possible. She started to believe, maybe I can do this if Heidi has done it. That belief was the fuel that propelled her to start making food plans, to start eating differently, to take all of the different steps for several weeks, even months, until she started to see proof for herself that she could do it. She told me how much she needed the example that it was possible. She couldn't look to her past for what was possible. I told her everything that I had done. I told her I knew it was possible for her. Borrowing the belief allowed her to get new thoughts in her head like, it's possible I can do this. If Heidi could do it, I'll try. Or she believes in me, I bet I can do it. All of those little thoughts are very possible. They crack the door open to let in new light, new air, new possibility. And often that is all we need to start taking action. And then we start building up evidence and our own belief grows for what is possible. Do you have health goals for this new year like everyone in January? Look to someone who's made the changes you want to make. Read success stories in magazines. Read how people have achieved what you want to. Try to identify with those who have been where you were before. See yourself in them. Don't tell yourself that you're different and because of that, it can't work for you. Remind yourself we're all human. Something worth achieving will be hard. Notice how other people do the hard. What do they think and believe? I didn't think it was possible for me to wake up early, become a morning person. That was such a limiting belief. I remember when I realized that I want to be someone who wakes up early. I wanted to believe I could change. I looked to others who had changed, who had adopted this habit. I thought, if it's possible for them, it's possible for me. I borrowed belief and I started building evidence that I could change and become whoever I want to choose to be. I taught myself to change my habits. As I started my business, which I had never done before, I've worked for other entrepreneurs, but I've never had my own. I looked to others for what is possible. I saw what other coaches or online business owners had created and decided to borrow their belief that I could build a business. I also didn't allow the disbelief of people who are scared to take action enter into my orbit. If someone came to me with their own doubts and disbelief, I kept them at arm's length. I was and still am protective of the energy around me. I want believing energy. I want positive and faith-filled energy around me. It's been said that we are the most influenced by the 5 people we spend the most time with. I'm very careful about the energy of those I spend time with. Take stock of the 5 people that you are around most. Now, maybe you can't swap out your children or your husband, or you don't want to. Look beyond them, those next 5. Who are they? Do you need to make changes? Are you surrounded by people going places, doing things you want to do? Do those around you think the sky is falling? Or do they talk positively about their jobs, their money, their life? We are influenced by the beliefs of those closest to us. I'm very conscious to choose friends who have parenting values like mine. And often I need to borrow belief that maybe some home rules or family activities or such will achieve what I want. About 4 years ago or so, I found myself very despondent and frustrated and feeling little faith for how one of my children would turn things around in school. I called one of my brothers, who is now a very, very successful professional. He has a PhD in electrical engineering, a crazy hard academic path and achievement. But I knew his high school years had been a bit rocky, and I didn't know too many details because I'm 5 years older and I was out of the house in these years. So I called him and I bluntly asked him, "How did you get your crap together?" I was very clear. I didn't say I need to borrow your belief, but I did say I need hope and I need some proof to lean on that everything's going to work out awesome for this child. And he then told me so much about his journey. It was awesome. His experience then fueled a new belief that was incredibly helpful. It still is. I borrowed his belief that everything's going to turn out great, that people can change, that I need to be the type of mother who sees the good, sees the potential, who models confidence, who projects what is possible for my children. If you need to borrow this belief for your children, seek out Facebook groups or friends or family. Ask people for hope, for belief. You'll get it. It's out there if you look for it. Many of these examples are about borrowing belief from others. I think it's very possible for us to borrow belief from ourselves, from our past accomplishments. Now, this is where it is useful to look to our past, to remind ourselves, I have done hard things before. I can do hard things again. We don't give ourselves enough credit for what we have done. And if we did, we'd have more belief that we can do more of these things. Okay, write down 5 things you have done which were hard, which pushed you out of your comfort zone. Now, maybe somebody else pushed you and you did survive and you're stronger. Write these down and notice what you had to feel to accomplish it. Notice that you didn't die, that you possibly failed a lot along the way. Look to your past to see you can fail and still succeed. That failing or falling down doesn't hurt like our brain thinks it will. These thoughts will be useful to calm your brain when it doesn't want to try something new. Borrow belief that it wasn't so bad in the past and you can endure it by trying something new again. One of the best fruits of my 18-month mission for my church when I was in my early 20s, I was learning a new language. I was living in a very different country. I was building up huge files of belief that I can do hard things. It changed what I believe I could do, what I thought was possible. I then moved from Maryland up to Boston when I got home, and I then did so many new things. I still look back today on my mission and I borrow belief on what is possible. I see many ways that I failed and rough edges were polished and the growth it prepared me for. My guess is that you have experiences like this. Maybe it was part of your childhood. Maybe it was getting out of a bad relationship, enduring health challenges. How did you do it? Now borrow that belief that you can continue to move forward and do new uncomfortable things. Are you unsure where to start? Ask the people who know you best. Ask them to tell you what they admire about you, what strengths you have, where they see you believing and doing. Others are outside of the picture. We're inside the frame and we can't see the whole picture. This is what I love about coaching. Someone without our biases of our own lens that we have, they help us to see ourselves in focus. They can help us put on a new lens to see things that we can't see. Then spend time visualizing how you will show up in the world with these new beliefs. And as you do this, you become someone who believes in you. You need to look less to others and you learn to validate yourself. Again, I like borrowing beliefs from others, but the more we learn to create the belief on our own, the less dependent we are on outside sources when the going gets tough. This is when we learn to fuel our own change. That's it for this week. If you would like personalized weekly private one-on-one coaching to create new beliefs about your life, about your family, sign up for a consult call at HeidiBenjaminson.com. A confident mother is the greatest gift to her family, not a perfect mother. Our families want us to feel confident, anchored, and calm. I can help you uncover this version of yourself. Have a great week.